Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another film review. Today, we took a look at Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now, I guess this came out last year. They just released it on Disney on the 1st. So that's how I watched it. Did you watch this in the theater?
No, I didn't watch it in the theater. This is one of
Okay.
the ones I didn't see in the theater.
Okay, yeah. So IMDb, after 174,000 reviews, or at least, people rating this, they gave it a 7.0. Mm.
We'll talk. We'll talk a bit
Mm.
more.
I'm gonna scroll down to this nice little feature right here. The budget for this flick was $250 million.
Yeah, you can see they spent money on it. Like
They
it's
spent
fair.
money on it, right?
You can see they spent money. You
Yeah,
can see where they spent it
yeah.
too.
Gross sales thus far is about $840 million, which is it's pretty good, I guess. I mean, they spent
Yeah.
250. Yeah, it's pretty good, right?
So whenever you're doing movies, you got to double the whatever the production budget was, because that's what advertising is.
Yeah.
And then so the break even point is like maybe $700 million for this kind of movie, because they, overseas they only get like a quarter of that kind of money. They don't get the full thing.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, I would say like seven,
The
close to eight is
the
break
break
even.
even is 700 million.
Yeah, if you spend 250, like break
Wow.
even's like seven, six,
Wha-
7,
That sounds
depending on
like
how much they spent.
that sounds like some fuzzy math right there, dude, you know?
Yeah. Well, because the budget is double for advertising and
Yeah.
promotion.
Mhm.
So whatever it costs, if it's 200 million, 200 for promotion, and then you don't get the exact same thing for. I saw this in Avatar. They're saying that overseas, even though it's making billions of dollars overseas, they're only getting a fraction of that. So the
Yeah.
money isn't as good as it could be
Yeah.
because of that. So yeah, like I would say 600 million is break even. So like they made money, it did good, but it didn't do as good as the first movie,
Yeah, the first one
which
was
is
banana
kind of a
cakes. The first
problem.
one was way I'm gonna just put it out there. The first one was way better than Wakanda Forever. That's what I
Way
thought anyway.
better.
I mean,
Way better.
and this joint was 2 hours 40 minutes, maybe 2 hours 45 minutes. I sat down and
Mhm,
watched it from start to end. And the reason why I
mhm.
did that is because even though there were some, I'm gonna call them hoes in the movie, right? The story still moved along, even though there was a lot of
Yeah,
walking and talking,
yeah.
like you would say, and just a lot of like
Mhm.
air that, you just needed to remove that air in a lot of different sort of
You
pockets of
could
this
you
movie.
could trimmed a lot
You
and
could
got
have,
to the
how much
point
would you have
slowly.
trimmed from this movie?
Half an hour? Maybe?
I was gonna say maybe between 40 minutes and an hour. That's what I was gonna say
Oh,
because
yeah, you could trim a lot.
you
Yeah.
can trim a lot because I see what they were trying to do possibly. They introduced a character that
Mhm,
I didn't see before. And I mean, they kind of figured him out quickly, right? So they didn't
mhm.
extend his abilities throughout the entire movie. It's just like, okay, they figured him out, and this guy was pretty interesting. They didn't even say his name
Yeah.
was Namor, right? Like, how did he get into Wakanda? Can someone explain that to us?
Underwater, I guess? Like,
Yeah.
here's the thing, with the comics, Namor is a G. That dude's a gangster, right? Everybody's scared of him. He's a straight gang. He's basically because he came before Aquaman. Aquaman's second. They're like a year apart. So like Namor's original underwater Atlantean god, whatever person. And in the comics, that guy is a G. Everybody respects him, and they keep a wide berth from him because he's a problem. Fighting him is a problem. So like, I like that aspect of it for the movie. Like they showed you, like he did his thing. He's formidable, fighting whatever. So one of the issues I had with him fighting whatever is that vibranium is indestructible sometimes, and sometimes you can slice through it with butter. Like, which is it? You can make up your mind here.
Yeah.
He's got vibranium swords, and they got vibranium ships. How's he just slicing through this stuff? Shouldn't it be like at least harder to take those ships down? None of that made sense. Sometimes vibranium super hard, sometimes it's soft. Like the Black Panther suits made out of vibranium. In the Captain America movie, they're like, this is the hardest material on earth. And this movie just stabbed her with the spear, like done and done. Like, which is
Slicing
it?
cats up like, oh, that's nothing. That's butter. I'm slicing
Yeah,
this.
like,
Wow. Like,
like make up your mind here.
mhm,
Vibranium is what is it?
yeah.
Make up your mind.
And like I said, this
Uh,
guy, if he was like so super powerful, right? You said he's a G, right?
mm,
He was a
mm,
G for a short time in this movie. And then once they figured everything out, they were like, oh, okay, we got this guy's number. And I was like, wow, I
mm.
mean, I like this guy. Why can't I see more of this guy? Right?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't think I would like him as a character, but he was fine. I liked him. I
Yeah.
actually liked him a lot.
There were a lot of interesting quirks in this movie.
Mm,
You know, first and foremost, the new Black Panther. I mean, I guess this person weighs
bruh,
about 80 pounds.
barely 80
She's
pounds.
probably 5'2" or 5'3". That didn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me. I know she's like very, you know, she's very headstrong. She wants to, prove herself. She wants to prove to
Mhm,
everyone that she is the best. She's the princess, whatever. But there were so many other
mhm.
people you could have made the Black Panther, right?
Yes.
Who was the
Yes.
okay?
This
Give me
was
two people you would have named the Black Panther in this joint.
um okay, number 1 would be M'Baku.
Yeah.
Like he should have been Black
Mhm.
Panther, but that by far. I don't here's the other part of this movie. Black men just disappeared from this city. I don't know where they were. What happened? These
Dude,
guys in the first movie, they're all over the place. They're doing their thing, and then this like they had the royal guard, and it was cool. But like like that was just those couple girls, but they turned out to be all the soldiers. They basically did everything.
it's
Like, what
like
happened to the
it was like
dudes?
Black Wonder Woman. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah, like
Just like,
it was the King's Guard, and that was cool. But like you had in the Avengers movie, you had a whole army of people that are like
yeah,
soldiers that were on the level or whatever. Like,
mhm,
what happened? And then you had like M'Baku, his people. So that's a whole other group of people that could fight,
yeah,
whatever.
mhm,
What happened to all these dudes? All the men in this movie, all the men disappeared, and that annoyed. When I was watching it, they annoyed the hell out of me. Especially as a black guy, that annoyed the hell out of
they're
me.
gone.
I'm like this
They
is
are
Black Panther's
gone.
movie, and they're like this turns into a soap opera after Black Panther disappeared. Like I don't like that.
Two
And
things.
I don't know.
Mabaku, I think I know why he probably was not chosen as the Black Panther. One, they would have had to create a totally new suit for this guy. That would have been a cost, right? And then the other thing is how the Black
Yeah,
Panther was flying through the air and everything else. They can't do that with old boy. He's like 6'7", like
yeah, he's a
100 and
giant man.
300 pounds. I mean, that's an additional cost. So now you're
But like
taking something away from what you want to do.
yeah, but in the
Excuse me.
first movie, he had a right to the throne because he's royalty,
Hmm.
and yeah, he fought for it. Like the only rightful that you would make this guy like if you want to keep her as queen and have this guy be Black Panther, that would have been fine too. I would have been okay with that.
Hmm.
But like the fact that she's chief scientist plus she's queen plus she's
Hmm.
Black Panther now, like come on, man. Like there's too many jobs. Like
Yeah.
just cool it on the jobs. Make some other people step up in the country, man. This is ridiculous.
How about the
It's too many
general?
things.
How about the general? Why couldn't she be the Black Panther?
That would be a better choice.
Yeah.
Like, there
She
you
was
go. That's a
swift and
good.
everything.
That's
Right.
a good answer. Like that's a better choice because it's not about being a dude. It's about a bigger, better, stronger, more trained person should have been Black Panther.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
T'Challa was training for this entire life. She was not.
Okay.
Clearly, she was not training for this her entire life.
Let me ask you this: in the comic books, Black
Mm.
Panther, was the Black Panther ever a woman in the comic books?
Yeah, Shuri's become Black Panther temporarily for
Mhm.
like a week, a
Oh,
couple days when her brother disappears,
it was
and
just
then
like,
he comes
I'm going
back
to
and
be in
be
a
Black
conference
Panther
for a week.
again.
Can you take over?
Yeah, yeah, he's got to go off the world with the Avengers. And he's got to do something. Like she's like, "I'll be a Black Panther," and then she gives the mantle back to him.
Mhm.
So like, it's not like it's a permanent thing. It's always temporary.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, I don't know.
That was the
I know why they
thing.
did it, but nah,
Why did they do it?
because they were doing the empowering thing,
Right.
and like which is fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Power Black women, empower
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah.
But this is Black Panther's movie.
Mhm.
If you want to make the Shuri movie, make the Shuri movie. But this is Black Panther's movie. Like you gotta. It's like James Bond making the side characters James Bond. Like nah, James Bond's James Bond.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters. You
You
can't do that.
you could have started the movie off like this. I mean, first of all, the tribute to CB was just like amazing.
Yeah, that was
Just
great.
I mean,
That was
that was
great.
great. But you could have started the
Mhm.
movie off like this, right? It could have been
Mhm.
a battle between M'Baku, that's his
Watch the
name.
throne.
Yeah.
Watch the throne.
Yeah.
Battle for the throne.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it could have been
I'll
like
be
that.
there for that.
Yeah, so and then it's just like, okay, now we have a true Black Panther because the last man is standing.
Mhm.
So it was a lot of
Well,
different avenues they could have taken in the beginning, like I guess for the first 30 minutes just to make this a little doper,
yeah.
you know?
But that's another problem with this movie. Based on the first movie, you had to fight to earn the throne.
Yeah.
In the second movie, they're like, "Here's the throne. Here you go. We're gonna let this thing." No, 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 no. The first two movie, he had M'Baku and what's the other guy?
Jordan B.
What's the other?
Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan.
Jordan, Michael B.
Mhm.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Both there's two different guys fought for the throne in the
Right.
first movie.
Hmm.
In the second movie, because this is how important it was, you had to earn your right for the people to trust you to be leader. In the second movie, they're like, "Here you go." Like, bro, what is this?
Yeah. You know,
According to your standards, what is this?
yeah. It's first of all, do we even need to give like an overview of this? I don't think so, but if you want to, we can because it's Black
I
Panther.
don't
We
think
know what
because
it's all about.
I think a lot of people have seen it already. They're more so want to see what our take is.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I the plot's pointless. They're trying to get vibranium.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. Most important thing on Earth just happens to be more all over the place.
Right.
It's like kryptonite for Superman.
So
It's only a little bit here, and then whenever they need it, it's all over the
right.
place. Like,
Mhm.
come on. Like,
So Wakanda is the most powerful tiny nation in the world, and these
basically a city.
it's I mean, it was you know what it looked like. What was the name of that place? The place in Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. The nice water like city. It looks something like
Oh,
that. I
yeah,
bought a house
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Remember, I bought a house there. I was renovating my
Yeah.
house there. It looked like that.
I
It's right on
forgot
the
about
water.
that show.
Right. You said you said you forgot about it. Was it that good?
No, it's that bad. Like that
Right.
show,
I
I forgot
mean,
about Lord of the Rings.
it's like, oh, I forgot
But
about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, you're right. It seems like a little tiny. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a nation. It always
Right.
feels like this little city here,
Mm. And
which
it's
is
also
weird. Like,
sort of protected, like almost like the Wonder Woman sort of
mm,
city. You just have this shield and it's a
mm,
see-through shield and everything else. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, oh, this is cool. Again, this
mm.
movie, you know, it was there was so
It had
much.
good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading a comment on IMDb, and
Mm,
this person was like, "This is a featured comment." They were like, "This movie was
mm.
boring." Super boring. This person fell asleep. They were like, yo, I fell asleep. I came back. The movie was still on. It was super boring. There was nothing interesting about this
Mm.
movie. Nothing at all. If you remove some of those boring parts and then
Mm.
squish the movie together, it would have been a bad behind movie.
Yeah, yeah, it could have
Mhm.
been. But like one of the problems with this movie is that the bad guys weren't really bad guys. They
Yeah.
had justified reason for what they're doing.
Mhm.
So you couldn't really root for them to be destroyed or get rid like so there's no real stakes.
Yeah.
You know that she's not gonna destroy that country because it's not what type of person she is. And you know they're not gonna destroy Wakanda because that's not what type of people they are. Like
Yeah.
they're all their whole point of this thing was to be allies. They fought for a little bit and they're gonna be allies again. So like the stakes were low, and that's why a movie felt kind of boring because like it wasn't like Ish wasn't gonna get real. Like at least like what Killmonger in the first movie, you're like, this guy hates T'Challa and Wakanda,
Yeah.
and this is gonna be a fight to the death here.
Right.
Whereas this was like a fight to the life, right? Like
Yeah.
it wasn't really gonna go anywhere.
There was some
And I don't like
scenes.
movies like that.
I know there was some scenes, some fight scenes that felt like fight scenes from the Power Rangers. It was just like, oh, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. It was just like,
Yeah, yeah.
what's up? What's
Like they
up?
didn't chop nobody's head. There was no head chopping off. It was
N-
just kind of like, hey, here's a light tap.
No
But no, everybody,
one.
we're still good. We're okay. There's no blood. We're all right. Like
I mean, this is Black Panther. No one got swissed up. Swissed up. No one got swissed up.
I, I
You
don't
know.
think they're fighting with spears and swords. Like, come on.
I
Like,
mean, like,
somebody's got to go
does
down.
Wakanda have an army, like a big army?
Yes, in the Avengers movie, you can see there's thousands of people they're fighting. There's thousands of people.
Well,
They have
where
to
are
have
they in the
at
Black
least
Panther?
30,
Wakanda
forty
Forever.
thousand soldiers were out there in the Avengers movie. At the end of the movie, there's 30, 40,000 at least
Wow.
fighting. So I don't know where they're at right now. This again,
I
men
mean,
disappeared from this movie. They
gone.
completely disappeared. It's a
Like the
submarine
men
idea.
are gone. Like men, that's a, yeah, that's I don't know about this, man. I did have again, like I said, I was able to sit
Mhm.
down and watch the movie all the way through. You know how I feel about long movies.
Yeah,
However,
yeah.
I was not mad at the length of this movie because I'm invested in the Black Panther
it,
franchise.
it was interesting. Like I
Hmm.
wanted to see where it was gonna go. So like I watched it through and it was fine. I wanted to see where it was gonna go. It
But
could have had more adventure. It could have been more exciting things because they didn't really go anywhere. Like went to Langley, they went to Massachusetts for a second. Could film that anywhere, and they were in Wakanda, and they were in the what's the Tacoma, whatever the Tacoma, whatever
oh,
their city is,
Talakan or yeah, Talakan.
Talakan.
Hmm. Which
Yeah,
was
they
again, I would like to know more
it's
about.
Atlantis.
Yeah,
It's Atlantis.
I would like to know more about this person. I mean, he just seemed to be more powerful than anyone else. But Wakanda was able to defeat this guy. I mean, they figured things out like from a technological standpoint. Like, oh, he can't be dry. Now, let me say
Mhm,
this right. That was his
mhm,
Achilles heel. He
mhm.
can't be dry.
Which is not really
It's not like it's not
he's
like if he if you catch him from behind or if he lands on his left knee then he becomes a little weaker or so. It's just like, oh, he's a person who lives in the water. If he's dry we can take him down. Like that was so
yeah, yeah.
obvious.
For Namor, that's not really a problem. Like
Yeah,
Namor's a G, right? On land and water, he's a G, right?
right. Mhm.
That's not really a thing. But I mean, like I'm sure it is a thing long term. 20 minutes, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's
And then
fine.
she when the Black Panther and Namor was fighting, excuse me,
Mhm,
she clipped one of his wings from his foot.
mhm.
And that just completely like he was just like almost like disabled, like oh, like I'm like, wow, this guy's so powerful and a little wing like injured him so bad.
Yeah, well, that's a point of vibranium is actual hard again. Listen, Wakanda was shooting this guy with vibranium spears and everything else beforehand. Couldn't do anything. All of a sudden, her vibranium works again and it does what it's supposed to do. She was cutting him up with her claws or whatever. How come he couldn't do that before?
Yeah, she was
They all
busting
tried
his
to fight him
behind too
before,
though.
right? But I'm just
Mhm.
saying, like vibranium did vibranium stuff at that point in time, but before in the movie, it did nothing,
Yeah.
which doesn't make any sense. What's her name? The first lieutenant in the or the general in the army. She had a vibranium spear. She was she was fighting the other big dude. It
Yeah.
did nothing to him.
No.
He can even get scratched. I'm like, does it do what it say it does, or does it not? Make up your mind.
Yeah. And when they came to Wakanda,
Mhm.
Wakanda didn't have a large army fighting these people at all.
Don't make no sense.
It's like
I did they make this movie during the pandemic? Like, is that what the reason was? Like,
you
they
know
made it like extra tiny
well, I think
because
what
you.
happened was the $250 million. They gave a lot of Wakandan
Mhm.
soldiers severance packages to leave the army early, right?
Like, you gotta
So
go,
they
bro.
they
Like,
got bought out. They got contracts to buy them out. So that's why the army was depleted. And here's the other thing: when old girl was fighting old boy, right?
Mhm,
She was not strong, right? She wasn't strong enough to
mhm,
like take him out, or just even disable him a little bit. I know she clipped his wing, but it was out
mhm,
there too, so with the right move, you could clip it, right? But I just
mhm.
think that the battle between Namor, whatever his name is, in the Black Panther
Namor.
from the
Yeah,
Black
the
Panther from the
Namor.
previous one, I think that battle would have been
Yeah.
serious, right? You
Yes, it would
can't,
have been way better.
yeah, you can't see and not taking anything away um from the Black Panther, this one. But you can see where there was some limitations there in terms of a fight scene, right?
No, like she did the herb and all that stuff, but
Mhm.
like, come on, man. T'Challa, Killmonger, and Baku, these guys have been fighting their entire lives to be
They're
king.
warriors.
Their entire lives.
Mhm.
She's been in a lab somewhere her entire life, making fun of people's shoes and building computers. So to make her Black Panther did not make any sense. I know she's done it, but she's done it over lesser people that could embody her. Namor is a problem on land and sea to anybody. He bodies Iron Man and everybody, Captain America. Like that's the level of threat he is to everybody. So for her, who's in a lab, also I'm gonna be Black Panther. Like, come on, no, not real life, not realistic. Like, stop it.
Yeah,
And then you're tiny. Like, you're 80 pounds. Like,
dude, she's
there's a scene we talked about this offline, but there's a scene in the movie when she took her noodle arm and she wrestled M'Baku with this giant hand. It's like this versus this with her little
I
hand.
know.
I Let me tell you something. I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
Like I know she got the herb and now you got magical powers, but I laughed so hard because in that universe, for her to remain being queen or whatever, she's gonna have to fight that dude without her magical powers, and that he's gonna pick her up and throw her off the river, whatever the whatever the waterfall, and that's gonna be the end of that. Like it's gonna take 2 seconds. Like
And then what about your girl? Is her name Nakia?
yeah,
Yeah. What
yeah.
about Nakia in Haiti? She's in Haiti,
Okay, like
dude.
that.
She is in check this
Okay.
out. She's in Haiti,
Mhm,
Haiti is the poorest country in the
mhm,
world, or at least in our
mhm.
hemisphere, right?
Well, yeah, Western for sure in the
Yeah.
Western
So
Hemisphere.
she
Yeah.
goes there. She has a little school in a really nice area of Haiti or Haiti, wherever that is. Um,
Mhm.
and she's just out of pocket.
Like, okay, we have to talk about the spoiler thing about this.
Mhm.
So she had a son with T'Challa,
Yeah.
and she didn't tell nobody.
No.
Did you guys get married? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here? So
So
her mother knows. There's I got questions. Like, when
yeah,
did this happen?
you
How long
know,
ago did this happen?
and so
Is she queen now? Like, are you guys throwing imposters to the throne? If she married T'Challa, then she's queen, and not you. You're not queen. She's queen. So what's
yeah.
going on here? I got questions.
Yeah, but you know what? When they revealed that, I was like, okay, the obvious stake has been placed. We know what the next movie
Mm,
is going to be about. Here is the son of
yeah,
T'Challa.
it's gonna be about him. Yada yada
Exactly.
yada.
So
But like,
it's like that's what I'm talking
as it
about.
stands right now,
Yeah,
are we doing the royalty rules? Because if you're doing royalty rules, that kid is king, and she's queen regent,
yeah,
and you guys are supposed to get off the throne.
right,
That's
exactly.
the,
You know,
these are royalty rules. Are we still doing that, or how are we
yeah.
doing this thing?
So you
I got
know,
questions.
yeah. So you see that they're giving themselves a lot of runway to continually produce for this franchise with the sun and
Yeah,
everything else, and it's sort of
mm,
it's obvious. It's a little corny too. It's I mean, come on, it's corny. It's just
a
like,
little bit,
oh, this is the
just a
son.
little
He's
bit.
the son of the king. We know what's going to happen. You know, he will be the Black
Mm.
Panther in the next movie. You know, 2 or 3 years from now. We know that.
You gotta make him older, man. You gotta make at least make him 15 or something like that. Like he's
That
too
fool better
young.
be like
He's like
he
like
better be like
6.
the Cleons, like from the Foundation. You know, they're like,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
million years old. You know, like quickly. But
Clone that guy up, man. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff. Like,
mhm,
yeah, because you had to make him that young because the timeline doesn't work out. But like, I don't know. You're better off just recasting him and redoing a reboot or something.
yeah,
You should have done that,
and
or take him from a different universe and bring him over here and
yeah,
be done with it. Because this thing is just it's messy.
yeah.
I'm sorry, like it's messy. It's
You,
extra messy.
you know what else is really interesting about this is okay. So if this is Wakanda, the most powerful tiny nation in the world, right? I
Mhm.
was little surprised how the lack of technology and the lack of like military sort of um weaponry they had to protect themselves, you know?
Well, like in the Avengers movies, they had like magic cloaks that turn into shields and spears, and like I'm like, bro, like that looks so corny. Like
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to do,
Mhm,
like keep it traditional, but like, bro, come on, that
yeah.
looks corny. You guys have spaceships and
Mhm,
you have planes that fly around that hover and can beam people up, and you're using the spear thing. Like,
Yeah.
like,
I
yeah,
have I will say this, man. The first Black Panther movie, I mean, it was new, it was fresh. It just man, it
it was
blew.
infinitely better.
Oh my
The
goodness.
soundtrack was
The
better.
sound, oh my, what's
That
wait a minute.
Ludwig, whatever that whose name is, yo, he put his foot into that movie, man.
Was there even a soundtrack for Wakanda Forever?
It was unmemorable.
Right,
I could.
exactly. I'm
It was in
like
the background. And I was like,
trying to remember the
the,
music and everything, and it's just like, wow. And it also seemed like
it's
some of the stronger people totally got weak over time, right? The general
yes,
got weak,
yes,
you know? Black Panther
yeah.
became weak.
Mhm.
I,
Yeah,
I
like
don't know,
it
man.
just it I don't know, like the from the first movie to this one was a steep drop off in quality
Yeah.
and uh writing, storytelling, it's a bunch of stuff. And I understand why, because when Chadwick Boseman died, they were like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And they kind of painted themselves in the corner because they didn't want to recast him and they didn't want to put somebody else as Black Panther. Like I got that. That was a poor decision on Disney's part. They should have recast him. And
Yeah.
everybody's singing, but at the time it was like, oh, we can't recast him. But to looking back at it now, terrible decision. Absolute terrible decision.
Um, I'm just looking at let me go here. Wait a minute. I was just looking at the first Black Panther. I'm gonna go here. The first Black
Hmm.
Panther did okay, so it came out in 2018. So the next one, the
Yeah.
third Black Panther will be, in 2026 or something like that, right?
I
So
don't think there's gonna be a third one. I think this is the last one they make.
if we're lucky, there won't be a third one. So
Yeah, like
the
I honestly think this is the last Black Panther movie they make.
the first Black Panther budget was 200 million. Right now, gross
Hmm.
sales was 1.3 billion, right?
Hmm.
So that's that. So they added an additional 50 million. And this was shot in Atlanta. And I'm trying to figure out, like, was this shot on Tyler Perry's compound,
Probably,
you know?
probably.
Because I mean, just the way the set was, I love the sets. First of all, this like in terms of how the world, how everything looked. What do you think about that? Was that pretty on point?
It was cool, but like
Mm.
they tried to make it this big vast area, but it only looked like a neighborhood. It
Yeah,
didn't look like a giant country.
I mean,
Like they should maybe film some aerial things to be like, hey, Wakanda's bigger than the main city. There's other cities over here, like something like that.
yeah,
Because like basically Wakanda feels like a little tiny city and then some mountain area where Mbaku's people are.
yeah,
That's what it looks like.
yeah.
It's a tiny little cavern or whatever. Like it doesn't feel like a giant city with millions of people. And
Be,
and like
mhm,
that's you're trying to give the impression that it is, but
mhm,
it doesn't feel like it.
yeah,
And that's poor design based on how they did the thing, whatever. But
yeah,
it's okay. I will say this though:
mhm,
direction of the movie. I think that the U.S. government should have been the enemy instead of making it the Lanteans, because Namor is supposed to be a Lantean. So
mhm,
making that the water people fighting them, it was a poor decision on their part.
yeah,
I know why they did it, because they wanted to introduce more characters. He should have been like a cameo instead of the whole main villain, because like you couldn't fight them to the death like you could have if it was somebody else, another nation, or like just another guy trying to take over whatever. Like they needed a better villain, and he wasn't the right villain for what they're trying to do. He's more of a side character for what they're trying to do.
yeah,
If you're trying to get peace, this should have been a side story.
mhm.
Like it wasn't a good, like I didn't feel any stakes with him. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be bad. Like I know people died, but like it didn't feel the stakes they weren't there because of who he was. Like you need him around. He's supposed to be a good guy eventually, so it's kind of like how much damage could he really do? Like
But I
you need a
mean,
villain who's a villain.
yeah, but he did come there. And he basically threatened him, said, "You will do this, or I will destroy Wakanda." Right? I mean, I'm quite sure with the original Black Panther, he would have just switched them right there, like, "What you say? Boom, boom, boom. It's done." Right? And
Yeah,
then
original Black Panther would have been like, yo,
uh,
let's go
let's go.
right
Right?
now, let's go.
And you said something couple minutes ago, really interesting. You said you don't think there will be another Black Panther movie. Now, according to
I don't think so.
Namor, he wanted to. link up with Wakanda so that they can both protect
Mm,
themselves from, you know, Anglo-Saxon countries trying to take their vibranium, right? Now,
mm.
today, do you actually think that there could be a Black Panther movie where an
Mm.
Anglo-Saxon government comes in, destroys Wakanda for vibranium, which you can use to build weapons of mass destruction?
If that's what they should have been in the first, that should have been the plot for this movie.
Yeah, but I mean,
It
but
should have been okay.
mhm,
If you go the route of okay, Black Panther is gone,
mhm,
he's no longer here. There's no protector for the thing. That should have been like some rogue nation. It doesn't have to be France or
mhm,
America. A rogue nation full of
mhm,
colonizers
mhm,
tries to take over, right, from some European nation,
yeah,
whatever, somewhere in the Balkans, tries to take over Wakanda.
mhm,
That should have been the bad guys right there. That would have been
okay,
fine.
yeah,
And they came in, dropping nukes or whatever they got to do on the country, and they got to fight back, whatever. That would have been a decent movie right there. Because then it wouldn't feel bad about you fighting them to the death or whatever. It'd been okay. You could Swiss cheese people up. Everybody like, that's fine.
mhm,
Because, it's a rogue separatist part of a country, whatever. Like, it would have been fine.
yeah,
But
mhm,
by making it this Atlantean, quote unquote Atlantean thing, who you're gonna need later on for the future of Marvel movies, like you can't really do what you're gonna do. And no one feels bad about it. Like everybody's like, come on, stop fighting. The whole time you're watching the movie, you're like, that's Namor, stop fighting. You're gonna team up later on. That's
yeah,
what you're thinking.
yeah.
Like I didn't want to see that.
I think that that like okay, so they made the female, the princess became or the queen once her mother died, became the Black
Mm,
Panther. Based on
mm,
today's environment, in the world, based on today's environment, right?
mm,
So again, using that same premise, based on today's environment in the world, you think that a rogue
mm.
nation or rogue Anglo-Saxon nation can come in and destroy a Black nation because they want something that this nation has that they can then take to create weapons of mass destruction? I'm going to say no.
You're probably right.
Mhm.
You're probably right. As far as like people be okay with it,
Yeah.
but you didn't have to destroy it. Like the original plot for the first one was just to steal some of it, and then it turns out that Killmonger wanted to take over the country.
Yeah.
So like that was fine too, as
Mhm.
far as plot points go. But you can't recreate the same plot from the first movie.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna base it around this, then the plot gets kind of limited, which is why killing him was a terrible decision from their part. Like you don't. It's like Batman killing the Joker or like Superman killing Lex Luthor. Like this is your number one nemesis. How do you get rid of this guy?
Mhm.
And M'Baku is number two nemesis, but he's a good guy in this movie series. So like you're limited with who you can fight with. And the other nemesis is the South African guy. I forgot his name right now, but like that's his third nemesis guy. They killed. So you killed two. You killed off the Joker and Two Face from your movie series. Like you need them.
Right. Um
Like you can't even go back and pull them back up. Like those guys are done. That was a
yeah.
terrible decision on your part.
Yeah, I don't know
And the
about
other
this movie,
guy's a good
man.
guy now. So like you're limited to villains. You don't have a lot of villains right now.
I don't know about this movie, man. I wanted to, like I said, I was super excited about it. Once they
Mm,
put it on streaming services like Disney, and I was just like, okay, I want to check this out. And I knew I watched it last night, like I said, late last night too, like all the way through here, like
mhm.
started and it's over. And dude, listen,
Yeah.
the only like I said, okay, I'm gonna watch this movie. What I did was I turned it on, I had me a glass of
Mhm,
cognac, and right next to my glass of cognac was a bottle
mhm.
of cognac, so I wouldn't be able to get up, right?
You're just
So,
like, yo, let's
so
go.
dude, I
Pour it
sat
in there.
there, yeah, I sat there watching this movie straight. I did not get up, no bathroom breaks. And I mean, I'm home. I could easily pause it, whatever, right? But
Mhm.
it was, I don't want to say compelling because it really wasn't. But again,
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I know what you're
I'm
saying.
invested in Black Panther. And
It
when
was you're invested.
yeah,
You saw the other movies.
mhm,
Like I listen. I watched the Avengers movies.
yeah,
Black Panther was a badass character, right?
mhm,
This guy represent his introduction is one of the greatest introductions for any comic new character
mhm,
in comic book movies.
yeah,
Period, by far. This guy came out. and he gave Captain America the business and Winter Soldier. So everyone's like, "Oh damn, this guy's a problem!" Like instantly, you're like, "Oh, he's on their par. He's better than them." Instantly, so you're like, "Okay, let's go." And then having the way this thing had the way it happened, it kind of eroded how much interest I had in the franchise. And that's why I say, like, if they don't make another Black Panther movie, I'm okay with it. I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Um,
It's a loss.
yeah. I was trying to do, and really quickly before we zip this up, I was trying to find out how many like African Americans, Black people were involved in
Mm-hmm.
making this movie. I'm still digging because I just want to know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I know. Listen, this is not something that a team of Black people created. This is a Marvel character. So
Hey, Stan Lee made this. This
right,
Jewish guy made
this is
this movie.
Stan Lee. And speaking of Stan Lee, there is an excellent podcast about Stan Lee and Disney. I'm gonna send you the
Mm-hmm.
link, man. It's like 6 episodes. It's awesome, for real, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't just Stan Lee; it was someone else. He had a partner too. That they pretty much put a lot of stuff together. But Stan
Yeah,
Lee
they
did a
they
lot of
kind
it.
of Stan Lee got all the credit though.
Yeah, he got all the credit though, because the guy was young. He was
Yeah.
almost like an apprentice when he first came on. But yeah, I was again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just invested in Black Panther. I hope that they don't think that just because a lot of Black people are invested in Black Panther, that we're going to say, hey, this was a great film, because I think the first Black Panther was
Quality
way better.
dipped tremendously.
Yeah,
It dipped way too much
yeah.
for my liking.
So
And so because of that, like if they don't make another one, I'm fine with it.
yeah,
But like it's a shame because like we had some good here. The first, everybody can agree. Like even if you thought the first movie was overrated, you could agree that there was something good here. There's quality here.
mhm.
There's a diamond here, and so like we got our Fugazi diamond over here. And I'm like, it's not what I want.
Yeah,
It's not what I want.
forget the
I was
Fugazi.
not yeah, I was not excited about it. I was watching it. I was like, okay, I just got to get to the end of this. But
Mm,
I was like, I didn't want. Normally, when these movies come out, I watch them in the theater. And this one movie, because I knew it was going to happen, I was like, I'll watch it when I watch it. And so
yeah,
when you suggested we were going to do it for the podcast, I was like, okay, now's the time I finally watched this movie. But like, I wasn't dreading it. I didn't care.
yeah. When
And then I know
mhm,
why I didn't care.
yeah, and with these huge productions, right? I noticed this with these
Mm-hmm.
huge productions. Once the movie ends and the credits start rolling, you have to wait
Mm-hmm.
until the credits are over, because they always have a bit more film between the credits.
Yeah, they got the spoiler or the got the teaser thing for the next whatever.
Well, this wasn't even a next. This is actually how we found out that, old boy had a son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I think you made a single mom. Like, come
Right.
on, bro. Like,
But if the credits started rolling, you were in the theater and you're like, okay, everyone started like, walking out. It's just like, but here is the other part that they're talking about that could
no.
possibly be a sequel.
But that's the thing for Marvel movies. You have to you have to wait till the end of the movie. You
Yeah.
can see it, like half the theater is still sitting there in the chairs waiting.
Yeah.
Like yeah, every movie has the little teaser thing at the end. And usually two clips. But it's just this is kind of a disappointing sequel to like a great movie.
Yeah, it
Like
really is.
people are cheering in the theater for the first movie, and I know people saw it like 5 6 times, and they never watch movies like that. It's
Wow.
like is a thing where that you felt like connected to it and you're excited about it, and you just took as a Black dude, it took the wind out of it for me. I like I
It
just don't
really
care
did.
anymore. I'm sorry.
It really did. I don't even know, and we're gonna like rate this really quickly. I don't even know if like they do come out with another one, how invested I would be in watching that.
I'm not invested.
You know,
I'm
it's just
not.
like, oh, this is 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's like, am I invested though in that again? I don't know.
We didn't even talk about Riri Williams, who's supposed to replace Iron Man, which people are not going to be happy about. They don't know that, but they're going to find out very soon that she's taking over for Iron Man in the Marvel universe. People are going to be like, I'm good. Like I'm good. She
Wow.
was so unlikable as a
Yeah.
character. She was annoying this entire movie. I
Black
didn't I didn't
Panther. Go ahead.
I didn't feel she was smart. Like, yo,
Mhm. Black.
did you get the impression she was a super genius?
No, I mean, I didn't
Yeah,
see
like it's just
who. Okay, who was the super genius in this movie?
Shuri and Riri are the two smartest people in
Yeah,
the movie.
exactly.
And in the Marvel universe, Shuri is one of the smart. Well, Black Panther is supposed to be smarter than her, but like
Mhm.
she's one of the smartest people inside the Marvel universe,
Yeah.
which is fine. I'm okay with that
Mhm.
because it's part of comic books. But like watching this movie, seeing Riri, I did not get excellence out of that.
No,
I
not
was
at
like,
all.
here's an annoying girl with braids. That's all I saw.
That's it. Yeah.
And I didn't get like this is MIT genius. I didn't
Oh,
feel that at all. It's just an annoying girl.
listen, how that happened, that was just ridiculously goofy. How they just introduced her. I was just like, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was like, what? Who's this person? Like, who is she? Oh, now she's in Wakanda, and now she's like, okay, so MIT, she creates a
Mm,
suit, right? This is a
mm-hmm,
regular humanoid. Let's just call her human. You know, she's not like a
mm-hmm,
Wakandan, right? She doesn't have the
mm-hmm,
powers, right? She's smart. So she goes to
mm-hmm.
Wakanda, and all of a sudden she builds a suit that she can now fly in. And it's just like, oh, you went from
And how
like,
long did it take to build it?
right, exactly. It's like, oh, you went from
Couple
drinking,
days, hours?
like, not even. Like, I think it was just, I mean, the way the movie went, it was almost like a few hours. This girl went from drinking
Mhm.
Milwaukee's best at a dive bar around the corner from the school to now building, like, outfits that, that can give her the ability to fly. That was sort
Yeah.
of unbelievable.
They they did a poor job showing how smart she was because like, she's doing all these one-liners
Yeah.
and stuff, and, like, her character in comic books is unlikable too there, so, like, I guess that's their inspiration, but, like, I was like, "Let's fix this and make her feel like she's a smart person
Yeah.
instead of annoying person tagging along for jokes because she
Yeah.
doesn't feel smart at all.
No.
She feels like a useless character that
Yeah.
I do not wanna see again."
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
She was really
And I feel
annoying.
bad.
Yeah.
I know the actress is not her fault. This is like what she has to work with, and so I never, whenever we got critiques like this, I never want to take it out on the actress or whatever, or the people who put the thing together. But like,
Mm,
bro, come on. Like, I think you're watching Iron Man and you're like, that guy's smart. You feel like he's smart.
yeah.
You'll get the impression that he does jokes too, but like you get the impression that he's very smart.
You
He's
do.
one of the smartest minds on
Hmm.
earth. And you get that impression, right?
Yeah.
I did not feel that with her.
No,
And
she was.
it's not a
Mhm.
question of her because Shuri's smart too.
Mhm.
But like there's another thing for the movie, right? Having two characters to do the same thing is a waste of space
Really.
because Shuri's the genius in the movie, and you got Riri Williams the genius in the movie, and they're high fiving each other like, "Nah, man, we only need one genius.
Mhm.
You don't need two." When you watch CSI, there's not two people at the computer typing. There's only one person. Everybody else in the field doing field stuff,
Mhm.
right? This is like a
Yeah.
it's redundant as
Mhm.
far as storytelling goes. And yeah, it's unnecessary. And I really dislike her in the comic. She's one of the most likable, dislikable people ever, like in the comic books. I can't stress this enough. Everybody hates her in the comic books.
Yeah.
I mean, despises.
And
And so to replace Iron Man, good luck with that.
yeah.
It's gonna be a tough road for
It,
you.
and the other thing they did was, which was really interesting, was you notice how they used a lot of the faddish sort of words, like like the
Mhm.
queen and the king were using all these like sort of TikTok words and everything like that. I'm like, wait a minute, aren't
Yes.
they like super royal?
Ah.
I'm just like, she's like, yo,
Ah.
like fist bump, like dude, all that stuff. I'm like, isn't she the queen or the princess about to become the queen? I'm just like,
Royalty. You wouldn't be talking like that.
yeah, it's just
You're
like, so I
royalty.
guess they are able to leave Wakanda, go into the regular city where regular humans are and do regular human things. Like, go to bars and drink Milwaukee's best at a dive bar and all this sort of stuff, right? Yeah, it was I don't know about this one, man. I'm you know what? Let's go ahead and give
Not
this.
even Bucky's best. We're talking Pat's Blue Ribbon level
Dude,
stuff,
that's the
right?
like I call that the bathroom beer. You drink that, you're going to the bathroom all day. Straight up, quick too.
that's 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 the levels that we had of dialogue in this
Yeah.
movie. I'm like, come on, stop,
Yeah,
stop,
just like really.
stop.
Ugh. So listen, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. What are you gonna rate this movie?
I give it like a 6. I wanted to like this movie. There's things that were in it that I was like, okay, this is cool.
Okay.
Like Neymar. I was like, he's cool. I
Mhm.
didn't dislike him. Yeah, M'Baku, that guy's a G. I like him. I like him. Sure, he's tolerable enough. She got better as from the first movie to this movie, but just I just couldn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. Like I really wanted to like this movie, but the way the plot went and why they did what they did, it's just I couldn't enjoy it. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So it was serviceable as
Yeah.
a movie.
Um, okay, so like I said, I sat down, watched this movie because I'm invested in the franchise. I'm still gonna give it a
Mm-hmm.
5, right?
Am I
Because
right?
yeah,
It's
and
just
it's
there.
kind of sad because when you look at Michael B. Jordan, imagine like I mean he's straight diesel. You see what he's been doing to his body, right? I mean, imagine him in like
Yeah.
a Black Panther suit, right? You had the prince, the
Again,
princess,
why'd you
right?
kill him?
Right.
You could just called him up and let him do it.
Right.
Like,
You had the queen that weighs about, I don't know, maybe 50 pounds. I don't know. In a Black Panther
she's
suit, she
tiny.
she is so tiny. It didn't make sense. It wasn't like believable. And I mean, I'm giving it a 5. It's just like I'm disappointed in this. Even again, just like I said, I watched it from start to end. No breaks.
Mm,
I'm still giving it a
mm.
5. There's so much they could have cut out of here. And I'm with you.
It's
Like
too long.
if another one is too long, I'm with you. If another one comes out, I may watch it, but if it doesn't come out, I'm okay with that too.
See, I'm indifferent. If it comes out, like whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. It's just it. This is a movie of wasted potential because of I know why they did it because they were out of reverence to him and he died suddenly. I got that.
Mhm.
If that's the case, don't make the movie then, or wait.
Think about it.
Why you have to rush it right
Right.
now? Is there any reason that you had to put this movie out right now? There's no other
Absolutely
reason.
not. You know, you're right. Like, okay, if you want to give him a tribute, think about the movie you're about to put together. Think about
Mhm,
how you can honor him with this next sequel, like for Wakanda Forever. Don't just give him like a
mhm.
tribute in the beginning, and then you got like basically 2 hours and 20 minutes of like goofery. It's just like, come on, please,
Yeah,
what's
like
going on?
exactly. That's the point.
Yeah,
Like this is not honoring him.
no, this
Honoring
movie
him would be to make a dope movie that
is
like,
yeah,
yo,
it's
this
not
guy
dope.
paid tribute to
Mhm.
this thing.
There were some
No,
parts of
that's
the
not
movie
honoring
that was
him.
dope, but not it wasn't dope. So sad.
I laughed out loud with the submarine thing.
Yeah,
The guy got cornered in the submarine. I'm like, come on, bro. Like,
I
stop
mean,
it. This is your only line of defense. This thing that's unguarded underneath the submarine. Like, come on. Like, stop it. Stop. This is
yeah,
Marvel when they make Marvel movies, especially Disney movies. They do a bunch of different things and cut it together to make it into a hodgepodge of Legos to finish off the movie.
mhm,
They film different scenes with different endings. They take different parts of whatever, and it feels like that in this movie.
yeah.
It feels like that we need a submarine. Okay, we got a submarine now. We're gonna do this thing here. Okay, we're gonna put this thing here. Like it's different parts. And they need to stop making movies like this and just put like a solid script together and just film that
That's it.
from beginning to end.
Yeah,
To do that.
that's
This
it.
thing of
Mhm.
different parts is a terrible way to make movies, and
Yeah,
it shows.
yeah. It's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Kind of sad.
Yeah,
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.